Our young people, delivering sessions on health and well-being, and delivering sessions around education. Here's a fun fact for you. In those 20 years, we have engaged with over 10,000 young people. So we have a brilliant event lined up for you today. We have Q&As with some of the best Black business owners in the hair and skincare industry. So just a bit about myself. I'm Stefan, Development Manager with the 100 Black Men of London. And I've been with the organization since last year. So I'm going to hand over to my co-host, my amazing co-host, Katisha, who shall introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Katisha. So I am a deputy in the health and wellbeing team, but my son is also a part of the program. So he is YLA, and that is the Young Leaders. And we've been, I guess, he's been a mentor for about 3 years now. So yeah, thought I'd volunteer, give a little bit back. So that's why I'm part of the 100.
Great. So just to give an overview how this will go, it is a plan for 2.5 hours. We have a Q&A with Deciem. We have a discussion with Sitting Pretty Academy. We have discussions again with Black Hair Care and New Brand Barbers. And we have more Q&As actually with a loctician, Tasha Lawson. We have another Q&A. So we've got plenty for you guys lined up with Aaron Wallace. And then we also have, stay tuned for some giveaways as well. So Katisha, I'll pass over to yourself to get us started.
Thank you, Stefan. So first, I would like to welcome to the stage. We have 2 members of the 100, and it is Aminat and Scarlett, and they will be introducing Deciem. Thank you, Aminat and Scarlett. And don't forget, guys, put all your questions in the chat, and then we'll get them over to our guest today.
Aminat, you're muted. Aminat, can you hear me? Yeah, you're muted, so we couldn't hear what you just said.
Sorry, it's okay. I've been a pundit for the past 3 years mentor.
I'm sorry, guys. We have a few technical hitches, and we'll get back to you quite quickly.
So my name's Scarlett, and I've been part of the 100. and I am
and
part of
I
is the older, younger
older
people from the organisation.
people from the hear me now? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Aminette. It's unfortunate that there's a bit of sound issues. So if you guys have got headphones, pop them in. And if anybody remembers who's going to be on today's session, don't forget, put all your questions in the chat. And there'll be chances for 2 giveaways today. So keep an eye. Do you want to try again, Scarlett or Aminette, to see if we can hear you properly?
Yep. My
Oh, we
name's...
can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, cool. My name is Scarlett, and I'm 15, and I've been part of the 100 Black Men of London since September, and I'm part of Me I Can Be Too, which is like the older of the younger group of people that are part of the 100.
Hi, Atisha.
So, Scarlett, do you want to run ahead and introduce our fabulous guest? Thank you. And then Aminette will join us all shortly, I'm sure. And guys, apologies, please.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. So we have got someone from Deciem, and she will be doing a presentation about skin, and her name is Nafisa. Hi, Nafisa.
Hi, Scarlett. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm really happy to be here and to have this discussion with you. And I hope that people can walk away learning something new or getting some sort of insight into something that perhaps they were thinking about with regards to skincare that they weren't really sure about before. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you for being here as well. So would you like to start now, or does you want to say anything else?
I'm happy to start. I hope that the technical difficulties that Aminette was facing have been resolved, but I mean, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, thanks. Fingers crossed.
So I think the questions are sort of on the following side. There we go.
So the first question is, what are some of the fundamentals of understanding what is happening inside our skin?
Well, I think the topic of skin and skin anatomy is a huge and very broad topic. I mean, when we're talking about what the skin looks like from the inside and how best to sort of look after our skin, there are so many different things that you can do. But I think there's a beauty in keeping things simple and keeping things quite basic. Especially in today's world where we can get easily caught up on a lot of the trends, a lot of the products that are constantly sort of popping off from everywhere. But I think that the fundamentals, if I had to break it down to three basic components, they would be cleansing, moisturizing, and protecting the skin from the UV radiation that we are exposed to under the sun. So cleansing is something that is really, really important, and that is a lot of the times it is misunderstood to be something that is only necessary for people who only have oily skin. But that's not really the case, because sometimes we end up having dirt on our skin on a surface level that may not be necessarily visible to the naked eye. And an adequate routine of cleansing helps to make sure that the skin is constantly in the state of being clean. Moisturizing is really, really important, because not only do we have a natural process and natural elements within our skin that help to maintain the moisture within our skin and help us not feel as, tight with our skin or uncomfortable with the dryness of our skin, but also when we apply moisturizers, I think it also adds an element of protection and an element of an element of comfort, knowing that we are sort of supporting the skin in the way it looks, but also supporting the skin in the way that it feels. And moisturization is a really, really important element to make sure that the skin is kept well maintained, it's kept together. And last but not least, we have the use of sun protection, or an SPF. That is one of the things that I think specifically within Black communities, it is a controversial topic because of old age sayings that we've heard time and time again about the fact that Black skin does not require sun protection, and we are naturally built with sun protection, and that's not necessarily the case. Skin is skin, and it will always require protection. So SPF is definitely something that everyone would benefit from applying, whether you're young or whether you're the older demographic.
Thank you for that answer. It was actually really interesting. And it definitely clears up the fact that just because we don't burn in the sun doesn't mean that the sun doesn't affect us.
Absolutely.
Please, may we have the next slide?
So just to cut in here, Scarlett, what I thought would be really interesting, I think for the next couple of slides that I wanted to sort of run through, is what the skin actually looks like from the inside out. So we all sort of have a little bit of differences between our skins in the way that it looks to us. We could either be darker in skin tone, lighter skin tone. Depending if we have certain skin conditions, the skin might look different. But underneath the surface, we all pretty much have the same anatomy when it comes to that. So what comprises of the skin is essentially three main layers. And if you continue going through the next couple of slides, they sort of highlight the three different layers that make up the majority of the skin layer. And the different components that you see there that are highlighted in different colors indicate how diverse and how complex the skin is as an organ. So we have blood vessels, we have different types of cells, we have different layers that look different, because that indicates that they actually have different functionalities to serve. And it's all in the name of helping the skin collectively in order to facilitate the functionality of the skin, and also to help the skin serve its main functions that it was sort of like created to do.
Okay, thank you.
So the functions of the skin that I just wanted to highlight were three main functions, and that is to protect, to facilitate the sense of touch, because we do have nerve endings in the deeper layers of the skin that actually facilitate that, and to also contribute to temperature control. So essentially, without us being covered in skin in our throughout our bodies, we wouldn't be able to regulate our temperature that we constantly have. So it's all thanks to being covered in skin and the complexities of the skin that we're actually able to regulate our temperature. We're able to touch things in order to protect ourselves, and also to protect the internal vital organs, our hearts and our lungs and even our skeleton. So that was just something that I wanted to highlight there.
Thank you so much for that, Nafisa.
No worries.
Okay.
So again, the three main layers that I was referring to earlier. So if we were to name them, the first outer layer is called the epidermis, and that is essentially the topmost layer of the skin. it comprises of a lot of different cells. But essentially, when we hear about humans shedding their skin, it is this particular layer that is sort of doing that. So you have cells that are sort of pushing up towards the top layer. And if I can give you the best example, sometimes when you're looking underneath the bed, there's a layer of dust. And essentially, a lot of the times that is just your dead skin cells that have managed to sort of find their way to the bottom of your bed. It's a little bit gross, but that is the fun of science. And then deeper, we have the dermis. Now, the dermis is where you have your blood vessels. So let's say if you've cut yourself and you started to bleed, that essentially means that you've penetrated into your dermal layer. And then the hypodermis is something that you really need to injure yourself in quite a severe way in order to expose it. But it essentially the fatty layer of the skin. So it almost serves to be like a cushion to the skin. So when you sort of like you're pressing on your skin and you notice that it can go a little bit deeper depending on how thick your skin is, that is essentially the layer that you're also sort of touching on there. And then the next couple of slides, you also look into the different sort of components within, but you can sort of fly through them in a minute.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so our next question is, could you tell us a little bit about some of the changes that can happen to the skin during the teenage years?
Yeah, and I'm really glad that we're talking about this because I think that this is a topic that isn't really spoken of quite a lot, especially in the day and age of social media. It's a topic that's very much neglected that I think it's really important to bring to light. And the reason for that is because there are a lot of skin conditions and skin concerns that teenagers currently are sort of looking to mitigate or looking to address, but without realizing that this is actually a natural process that you're going through. You're supposed to be going through changes specifically even with your skin because of the hormonal changes that you're sort of going through during your teenage years. So during puberty, once we hit puberty, there is a particular sort of like balance, a change in balance of the hormones that goes on within our bodies, and certain hormones are created and they're generated in order to facilitate these changes. So for example, if you're a female, that hormone would be estrogen, and if you're a male, that hormone would be testosterone. Now, one of the common signs that a lot of teenagers experience, specifically when it comes to their skin, is congestion. And what I mean by that is, you know, oily skin, you have a lot more shine than usual. Your pores may be more defined. So with a lot of the oiliness that you would sort of experience, if that builds up within your pores, you will start to get blackheads a lot of the times, or whiteheads even. And sometimes people may be experiencing these changes because of the impact that these hormones have with the natural microorganisms that exist within your skin. So a lot of medical skin concerns can also be experienced. So for example, a term that a lot of people I think are very familiar with is acne. And acne is a condition that sort of arises from the natural bacteria that resides within the skin. And if there is an imbalance with that bacteria, that's how the congestion would occur. Now, it is very important to note that when it comes to medical skin concerns, cosmetic products are not particularly formulated to address those. So for example, something like acne is considered to be a medical condition. So for that particular purpose, you need to consult a dermatologist or a doctor or a physician in order to get the best recommendation for you. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is that I think it could be quite hard for teenagers in today's age to sort of be accepting of that, be accepting of the fact that it's normal, it's okay. This is, you know, it's a natural process and everyone is going through that. It's not just you alone.
Thank you. That definitely sums it up because social media, makeup artists, I see them like they use like smooth filters to like hide their skin imperfection. So that's really interesting. Is it okay to pop a spot or not?
I titled this age-old question because I think that this question has been around for a very long time. I'm pretty sure it's been around even before I was born. But is it okay to pop a spot or not? if you ask different people from different backgrounds, you will get a different result. But dermatologically speaking, the recommendation is always to not, don't play or touch your spots or be tempted to pop them, because what ends up happening is that you indirectly assault your skin, and you will cause a cascade of events that sort of propagate and extenuate that particular condition. So let's say if I had a spot right over here and I just kept agitating it and tried to squeeze the gunk inside of it out, what I'm indirectly doing is I'm also messing around with the bacteria that is within my skin that is also surrounding that area. So a lot of the times when we're constantly touching our face and then we move on to touch other areas of our face, we are naturally also spreading the bacteria that we sort of have over here onto other areas. So that could also lead to more breakouts. So my recommendation would be to not be tempted to pop the spot.
Thank you so much, Nafisa. I think it's definitely something I've been tempted to do a couple of times, and the results haven't always been, are never usually helpful.
I agree.
So our next question, could you tell us about some of the essentials of taking good care of your skin?
Yes, and I think that this is something that people can have fun with, because your skin is your own. How you want it to look is completely down to you, and how much effort you're willing to put into it, or what your vision is for your skin. So I would say like essentials that would always contribute to a great skincare routine would be, having a really great cleanser, something that is not so harsh to the skin. So I remember growing up, it was really popular to come across facial cleansers that had these little beads, and it felt really good when we would use them, because you would physically feel like you're really giving your skin a deep, thorough cleanse. But as I've grown up and I've done my studies and education, I've come to realize that actually that might necessarily have been suitable for me, because I remember feeling super dry afterwards. So having a gentle cleanser, and also making sure that we're not really using cosmetic products that are not necessarily particularly formulated for your age demographic. So what I mean by that is, I know I see a lot of the times, for example, these chemical exfoliants or acids that are being sort of mentioned on TikTok and on other social media platforms. And it becomes very easy for teenagers to want to get on the hype. But what we fail to learn is that a lot of these products are not necessarily formulated with teenage skin in mind. So that would be something that I would just, mention to be mindful about. Make sure that you're picking products that are suitable for you and what you're after, rather than picking products that are trending or, getting a lot of hype. And I think the last thing would be consistency. I think with everything in life, being consistent and always following through is the best way forward. And that is particularly true for skincare. Whether it is you trying to look for results, whether it's you trying to just be true to your skin and be helpful towards it and trying to support it at your best, always maintain consistency, because that's how you're going to help your skin in the long run.
Thank you. In fact, one of my favorite cleansers is actually from Ordinary that I got given a few years ago. Yeah, like the little packet, I actually do use that. So it's really good.
Amazing.
It's
actually my favorite too.
I don't have a child, but people they use product X on social media. Is it okay for them to use that?
So this is something that us as a company, we've sort of seen and experienced a lot, particularly since the start of the pandemic, because I think, TikTok took form and everyone has been online, and one thing leads to another. And then before you know it, there are all these different types of new trends. But I think for parents, it's particularly difficult to know and to gauge whether something is actually suitable for their kids or not, because There are a few reasons for that. It could be because maybe the parents are not informed enough in order to make the decision to know whether this is actually suitable or not. It could be a case of where like they feel more comfortable if someone else that they know has used it, didn't react to it, and therefore they would recommend it to their kids as well. And it's not that there is anything wrong with either or, but I think that there could be things that parents can sort of do on their own in order to sort of come to that decision a lot easier and to feel less intimidated by the social media platforms that are constantly pushing out these narratives about what people should be using and how skin should be looking, particularly for our kids. So I would definitely say in order for you to judge or to gauge whether a product is particularly suitable for your kid or not, go to that company's website page and look at the product description and try to gauge from the knowledge that is portrayed on the website whether it is suitable. A lot of the times there is enough information where there is statements that particularly indicate whether they are suitable for young skin, for adult skin. A lot of the times the company or the product, depending on how popular it is, you can find testimonials from dermatologists, you can find commentary from people from professional backgrounds who sort of provide that additional information to help you come to your decision. But I mean, if you're not able to do any of that, the easy thing that you could do is you can perform a patch test. And a patch test is something that would help avoid yourself or your child from experiencing a negative reaction to the product, because what you're essentially doing is you're testing the product onto the back of your hand and you're leaving it for 24 hours. You're trying to gauge whether it's something that is suitable or not. But please be mindful that the product should not really contain any ingredients that are utilized a lot by the older demographic. So that would be things like, you know, exfoliating acids or retinols or vitamin C of a higher concentration. So I hope that helps in any way.
No, it does. I think it's quite useful. I think even recently I've gone on a bit of a TikTok rabbit hole in terms of skincare. And sometimes it is useful because it's coming from dermatologists, but a lot of the time it's just people who are just interested in skincare.
Yeah, you're right.
And so the next question is, what should we be using on our skin? And is there anything else that we can avoid? Or should avoid, sorry.
I think that's an excellent question because it brings to light examples of what you can start from today. So as I mentioned earlier, I think every skin can benefit from using a really great gentle moisturizer or a gentle cleanser. You could even benefit from adding a serum of your choice. And a serum could just be something that help with moisturization even further. So one of the sets actually that we offer under The Ordinary, it's called the Daily Set. And the Daily Set is particularly suitable for people who are just new in the world of skincare. You have no idea what it is that you're looking for. You have no idea what it is about your skin that you're trying to improve, but you just want to get your foot through the door with skincare. So this particular set includes these three products that are in front of you. So it's a gentle cleanser called the Squalene Cleanser. This cleanser is particularly suitable for people who have previously used cleansers and they found that they've been too harsh for them. And then you have a serum, or more like a hydrating serum, called the hyaluronic acid 2% plus B5. Now, this is something that you can easily incorporate in your day-to-day routine. So let's say when you wake up in the morning, you wash your face, you can apply this serum, and then you can follow it by the cream that is called the Natural Moisturizing Factors plus HA. Now, this particular cream is really, really great because inside the formula itself, it contains these ingredients that sort of mimic the components that are naturally present within your skin. So when you apply it on, it's almost as if like you're topically supplementing the little components that help with your skin moisturization naturally.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the set that I was talking about. I do use a daily set. It's really good.
Yeah. There you go.
I've just realized I've kind of been using it wrong because I've mixed up the serum and the cream. So
Oh no, that's absolutely fine. I mean, again, when it comes to layering of products, that's something that is also subjective, right? Because you yourself, you have your own preferences in terms of texture. So, for example, I personally love creams. So I love to finish everything with a cream. But my sister loves to finish things with a serum because she doesn't really like the heavy feeling of a cream. So she would sort of skip the moisturization. She would put the serum on, and she's completely fine. Whereas I still feel like a cactus afterwards.
So, do you? Oh wait, I don't know if that was my question, but do you have any other advice for supporting children or teenagers through changes they experience growing up?
I mean, I think the advice that I would have comes from my personal experience, having grown up in different areas and in different parts of the world. It's not easy being a teenager, right? And I think particularly in today's world, when I think of my sister's generation, I think you guys have it. You guys have some tough skin because I don't think I would be able to have the level of resilience that you guys have. But I think we need to be mindful of the fact that social media, as great as it can be, it can also be detrimental to us in a few ways as well. And one of those ways is social media platforms perpetuating this narrative of how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to sort of buy into the hype or the trends that are going around when it comes to skin or the way that we look. But I think what is really, really important is to be mindful of who we are and to not shy away from that, and to also embrace the fact that everything that you do and everything that all the opinions that you have and all the experiences that you have is subjective to you, and it matters. And it's really, really important that it is different to you. And if you sort of, for example, if we talk about skincare, if your skin looks different to how you would like for it to be, that's okay, because everyone experiences changes in their skin. And social media is really great at filtering. You mentioned filters earlier. Social media is really great at sort of hiding the real versions of people and sort of masking some of the feelings that they would have, so that you wouldn't necessarily see the struggle that they would go through. But it's completely fine. And just be confident in everything that you're going through, and be aware of the fact that you're not alone if you are experiencing anything during your teenage years when it comes to your skin.
Thank you so much. I think as I'm finally leaving my teenage years, it's definitely been difficult sometimes. I think that's it for the pre-done questions. But I did actually have one more from the chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, sorry, just 1 second. So this is from someone who actually uses the Ordinary serum foundation. But is there a nighttime moisturizer you would recommend for the full combination skin?
Oh, I also love the Serum Foundation. A nighttime moisturizer. So we particularly don't have a moisturizer that's specific only for nighttime use, but the natural moisturizing factors plus HA, I think, is a fantastic option to explore, because it's super simple in its formulation, and it is intended to be that way because we're trying to pay homage to the complexities of the skin, and we're also trying to highlight and indicate the fact that the skin is already equipped with everything that it needs in order to moisturize itself. And only by adding the particular components that specifically work to enhance the skin hydration, it will help sort of give you that moisturization level that you're looking for. So that's under the Ordinary. We also have one under our other brand called Neod, and the product is called Hydration Vaccine. Now, this one is a super complex product that is filled with so many different types of technologies. But if you're someone who suffers a lot from dehydration of the skin, that is another product that I would normally recommend as well.
Thank
you so much.
There's another question. So I started using the I can't say this word, hyaluronic serum that are dispensed with a dropper. For some reason, although it feels nice going on, it tends to leave a residue that looks like it's peeling off. What is the residue like? What is the like, why does it do that?
So that is actually something that I myself also experienced, and I looked into it because I went into my own rabbit hole trying to, sort out the situation. But I think the reason for that is mostly because you're probably most likely using a little bit too much of it. So what ends up happening is because of the formulation, the way that it's formulated, it's only supposed to be used a couple of drops as opposed to dispensing the entire dropper. So I would recommend maybe cutting down the number of drops that you use by half and starting with that. It also depends on what you're layering the serum with. So if you're, for example, using a cream or an oil beneath the serum, that might not necessarily be compatible. So just be mindful of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely kind of pretend to be a makeup guru with it. I just do this, and then I was like, don't wash it off because it like keeps on peeling off. So I'm like, what do I do? So thanks for that question.
So our next question is, can men use these products? Apparently the person's asking for a friend.
Yes, 100%. We're all covered by the same organ, which is the skin. So these products will be just as good for men, and I think men ought to have their own sort of skincare routine, right? Because even if you're not looking to address anything in particular, but just supporting your skin with a good moisturizer or with a good serum or with a good oil, it goes a long way in the long run.
Thank you. I also just want to say for like the men that's watching this, that the daily set, it doesn't really have much of like a fragrance, so it's really good for like gender neutral and for male and for female as well. I have another question. What's your opinion on natural products? For example, African black soap, coconut oil, etc. More manufactured products.
Well, I'm a person who is very proud of her cultural roots. I particularly love using African black soap. I think it's fantastic. I think it's something that I like to believe our ancestors have always sort of kept it within our lineage in order to make us feel proud of where we come from. But I mean, my rule of thumb is, there are, just the same way as like we have all of these upcoming and new and even like dated skincare ingredients that have been time and time again tested for their efficacy, we also have natural occurring ingredients that a lot of these cosmetic companies are also utilizing in order to include them within our products. So it doesn't mean that just because the ingredient is natural, that it is great, that it is better at doing what it's supposed to do than anything else. Not by any means necessary. I think it's just dependent on what the format of that particularly natural ingredient is placed in. So for example, African black soap is all in all is natural in itself, right? And the way they sort of combine the ingredients within it helps serve its benefits to the skin. Whereas, for example, coconut oil is known to be an oil that is comedogenic, and that what that means is that it can potentially block pores, but at the same time, there are a lot of products on the market that include coconut oil for moisturizing benefits, but they're present at a lower concentration. It doesn't mean that it is any less beneficial. It just means that they're applied in different formats.
Okay, I think this has to be our last question because we've gone over time. I think it's such a wonderful opportunity to have you here, Nafisa. So I think everyone's trying to utilize it as much as possible. And so our last question is there a distinction for skincare products for black skin, or are we able to use any?
I think that's a beautiful question to end on. I will say this. I think the narrative of having products specifically formulated for black skin is a false narrative to go into, mostly because I think a lot of the marketing campaigns center the conversation around how different black skin is, but they don't really necessarily get into the nitty gritty details of what actually are the differences between, you know, Caucasian skin and Black skin and Asian skin, for example. And there are so many studies that are publicly available that I would actually encourage you guys to go on Google and search and read, that state what the little differences are. And they're quite small, but nonetheless, there are differences, but they don't necessarily mean that a whole different range of products need to be specifically formulated for Black skin. And this also goes back to the conversation that we had earlier in terms of, like, you know, age-old statements that we sort of grew up with. In terms of having Black skin, for example, we don't necessarily need sunblock, or we don't need moisturizers, or this, that, and the other. I think a lot of that feeds into this narrative of, like, oh, Black skin needs its own skincare products, which I personally don't believe in.
Thank you. I think that is it for session with Nafisa. So personally, I want to say thank you very much, and you have taught me a lot about my skin and the differences and going into depth of what it is. So yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you both to you girls. You guys have been phenomenal. The previous session and the session, was an honor to speak with you guys, and it was an honor to be a part of this entire campaign. And keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm supporting you from across the Atlantic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, and also to everyone watching, there is a chance to win goodie bags. So the DECIEM have been wonderful and made the daily set available for members of the 100. So if you email the email on screen right now, then there's a chance for you to win it. And I think it's time to hand over to Katisha.
Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you, Aminette. And thank you, DECIEM. I feel like I know what's happening inside my skin and outside of my skin. So as Aminette said, guys, remember, we have this free giveaway. I'm making it run across the screen because we're giving it away. So don't forget to use the email. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce two lovely ladies from Sitting Pretty. So Sitting Pretty is an established beauty academy that has earned a reputation for producing who go on to have successful careers. So we have two lovely ladies from Sitting Pretty Academy. So we have Zeph and Nora. Can you join me on the screen, ladies? And please forgive me if I may have pronounced your name wrong. Sorry.
Norma, yes. I'm Safina, but everyone calls me Zeph for short. And then we have Norma. Hi, okay. Katisha, how are you?
Hi, good evening.
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. I have got a snippet of bios, but I believe that, you know, you can just tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so basically I run a beauty and hair training academy in east of London in Chingford. We've been established since 2012, and we kind of work with a range of different types of people, ranging from young people in schools up to the more older generation, the more mature students that probably haven't been in education for some time, single parents. We also do Erasmus programs where we send people abroad where all expenses paid. We pay for that, and they can actually learn the skill set within the hair and beauty industry. I'm also going to be a new author where I've written a book about how to run a successful training school and all the trials and tribulations in that, which took me about 4.5 years to actually complete, and I can say now it's done. Yeah, we're about inspiring people. We're kind of more focused towards women, I guess, because of what we do, although we're about motivating everybody. So we kind of inspire young people so that they can get up and do something and kind of work in a kind of systematic way where they're not, especially if they're parents or staff or they haven't been in education a long time, they can gain a qualification with us, through myself and Norma, but still gain the relevant life skills. So we support them not just through qualifications, but also through life skills, and we counsel them, etc., etc.
Wow. So when I first originally had a look at your website, I saw that, it's an academy, but you do so much behind the scenes. I love the ethos about working with hard to engage young people. What made you think about that and incorporate that into some of the things that you do at the academy?
I think when you run a business as an entrepreneur, it kind of snowballs into different types of other ideas. And I think when you start a business and you start small, then you grow. So by growing, I saw that there was a niche market for young people that kind of fall through the nets. And I used to teach in an FE college around the corner from where my academy is. And I used to see that a lot of young people used to come in. You start off with about 25, 27 girls. And then by the end of the academic year, you probably end up with about 10. Because a lot of them have different types of boundaries to learning. And FE colleges, unfortunately, the one where I was, unfortunately, they can't support those young people. It's all about bums on seats, getting them in, getting them out. But if they have any issues, they do have facilities in place, but there's no one to really nurture them in the way. And sometimes when you're kind of working in a big environment, maybe sometimes the young people may not want to say what kind of issues they're working with. Whereas our environment is a lot more smaller. It's a lot more family orientated. We find that the young people are more, it's easier for them to open up, and they expose a lot more of themselves to us. And that way we can support them in what they need. So it didn't start off that way. I started off as a nail bar, believe it or not, originally. And then from that, we went into doing beauty and hair. I don't do the hair. My mum does the hairdressing section and barbering. And then we just kind of started to add on extra bits. So we work very much as a community, and young people would come in and, with babies or pregnant young mums and stuff of that nature. And sometimes they can't get into FE colleges because they're pregnant or they have a young baby. So this is where we would come in and we'd say, come on, and we'd help them, support them. Sometimes they'd bring their young babies in. And we've just found that this works for us. So that's probably one of our best USPs for our business.
Lovely. And I heard you mention that you have a book. Can you tell us the title? Because guess there is some gems on how she started her business, pros and cons, things to look out for. So please give a mention of the book.
Yeah, how to run a training beauty within the industry. So it talks about different kinds of secrets, things that I had to learn the hard way, because I had people that were in the industry with me doing different sections as well, and they didn't want to give over any information on, this, don't do this. And I worked really hard in different types of sections, private sector, the public sector before I worked, or I had the academy, and all these kinds of things I kind of put in the book. So, relationships, family, support, it being quite a lonely road when you start your business on your own, people kind of being envious and jealous of what you're trying to do and trying to achieve. People say they're supporting you and actually really not. So it wasn't supposed to be a motivational book, but it's turned out to be quite a motivational book, so I've been told, because it speaks about different types of things that a lot of people, especially probably mums, will be able to relate to. And moving forward in terms of if it's something that they want to do, and it's not achievable. So everything that I have done up to date is very much achievable, and I think that that's what the book signifies.
Thank you so much for that, Steph. And I see next to you, you have Norma. Norma Ellis, who is a London-based award-winning beautician who has over 30 years experience. So Norma, tell us about some of the changes you've seen in, I guess, when you are working in the field of beauticians, because you have a vast array of experience?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. And I was listening to your last guest about skincare, and my whole approach to skincare would have just been a bit more controversial to her way of skincare. And so I'm actually 66, and I've been in the business. I was one of the first Black beauty therapists in England. I was also one of the first Black beauty therapists in Miami, Florida. So I have been around, and there is, as I say, there isn't much about skincare. I've dealt with male, female, Black, white, Indian, you name every skin type. I've been able to take care of. And so I have a very vast experience when it comes to skincare. And my idea of skincare, as far as Black skincare and white skincare, would never be the same as your guest that has just previously left. I was listening into her and I was thinking, I'd love to get in there and we could really have a good conversation between me and her and maybe see if we can come to some kind of agreement. So being the first Black beauty therapist here in England was quite challenging. In the 80s, we weren't allowed to actually do this business, and Black people wasn't really into it anyway. So my journey wasn't in the skincare, but I was the first Black beauty consultant in Birmingham. And so again, going through racism and having to kick down those doors to open it up, where we can now have our Black people looking after themselves and caring for their skin. And so my approach to skincare is very much different, obviously from the years of experience that I've had within the beauty industry and educating Black women to take care of their skin right across the border. For me, I've always taught. And so when I met Zeph, we kind of just married together quite easily, because I was at some time I think, oh, maybe I should have a school. No, keep on the road, keep teaching, not to be so static. But obviously, I met Zeph. She was a client of mine, and I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, struggling with staff, struggling with all the different aspects. And so, you know, I love supporting women in business as much as supporting Black women, because I think we need it more than anybody else. We do have a lot more different challenges, just like we have a lot more challenges with our skin than whether you're Caucasian or whether you're anybody else. We do have more challenging issues there. And so for me, yes, being in the beauty business, it's taken me down many different roads. I also have done a lot of community engagement project, trying to support young people in different ways. And I think for me, the experience that I've had and the training that I've had with drugs, alcohol, and all the different aspects has been able to support our school and working with the young people that we actually have coming through the school. So that has been quite good. As I said, I've worked right across the beauty industries. I've been a makeup artist. I was the first one to open up with the Black Hair and Beauty magazine. I worked on that, the very first concept of it, trying to educate Black women. And I was a makeup artist then. And also when I came back from Miami, it hadn't moved on from where I'd left it. So I developed the question and answer problem page. And I ran that for about 8 years. And yeah, I've just had fun. My life has just been very transient in many different areas of life. I'm also going to be a published author, and hopefully Zeph and I will have a double celebration of publishing our book sometime in July. We were just talking about setting a date a few hours before we came on the program and making plans of how we're going to launch our books together. I also, well, the important thing about my book isn't just about beauty. The book is about my coming to England. I've been a pioneer in many things in my life. And the first thing that I pioneered as a child, coming from Jamaica, I had what was called a hole in the heart then. And I came to England for the very first pioneering open heart surgery to replace a valve. And so I'm the only, I'm the only survivor of this particular operation.
Wow.
And all the other children that were on that journey, they've all gone, and I'm the only survivor to talk about that story. So the basic of my autobiography starts off with pioneering that, and then also going through school here in this country in racism, opening doors for women to work in offices, and also working in the shops and working as a beauty consultant, and then opening the door for women to be beauty therapists, because that was never something that we were allowed to do. So yeah, very diverse area of life that I've had.
Thank you so much, Norma. Both of you have got the chat bumping up and down, but I'll come back to that. There's a few questions I need to ask that are really important. So, Zeph, on your dressing table, what are the most important skincare products that you need to have in order to keep our skin supple and in order to keep our skin hydrated? Tell us your secrets.
I use a serum, and this serum has high levels, concentrated levels of vitamin C. And there's a product actually which I get from Norma, which is a actual cream. So the cream has got, again, high levels of vitamin C. So I go between those two. So that's my kind of like Bible beauty go-to that I use all the time.
And your cleansers, Zeph.
No, you know what? I shouldn't say this because I'm a therapist amongst other stuff, but I'm human. I'm really terrible at cleansing my skin. I wash my face. I use a cleansing brush, and I do that. But I'm more one of those people that I will just go to Norma and she would do my face. So I'm kind of that. So and I drink loads and loads of water. I do about 3 liters a day.
Snap.
And I think that's helped.
Snap.
Yeah, that's helped immensely. And I don't wear much makeup. I put makeup on for today, but I don't really wear any makeup at all in the days anymore like I used to, because that helps to clog the pores and stuff of that nature. So I try and keep everything minimum, so I don't have to do too much hard work when I'm at home before I get to see Norma.
One more question, Zeph. So if we were to ask you your 2 top tips for starting an academy or even just starting your own business, what would that be?
Research. Research is everything. People just jump into business. They see me with an academy and they're like, I can do that. I'm going to do that. And then they're like, no, actually, I can't actually really do it. So research is absolutely key. And I think the next thing would be working in that industry. So if you want to open up an academy, work in an academy, and you should work in an academy that can offer both private sector training and also working at FE college, because they both have different types of limitations. So that way you can kind of see what works for you from what doesn't work for you, and then you can extract the best out of both, and then you can formulate that within your own business.
Okay, guys, Norma, every lady wants to know, what is in your makeup bag, because your skin looks flawless?
I don't have a makeup bag.
Ah.
My makeup bag is eyeshadow, lipstick, and eyeliner. That's my
Wow.
makeup bag. I do not have a makeup bag. I've put foundations on millions of women's face over the years, working as a platform artist, whether it's white women, whether it's Black women. I've worked with many stars. I've done many magazines. I've done many fashion shows. And I have put on foundation and full makeup on hundreds and thousands of women face, but I do not use anything. I always come on natural, no powder. I like that shine. I like the dewy look, and I just use my eyes. Nothing else. I've never in all my life that I've done makeup and skincare, I've never had anybody put makeup on me. Nobody's ever made up my face.
Oh, I love that. Your skin looks beautiful. Actually, both of your skins look beautiful. Obviously, there's a question already, but you answered it. How did you get your flawless skin? We have a few questions. There's a question here. Oops. Okay, Normal. What are your Pacific skin? What
Say
are
that
Pacific
again.
skin issues and challenges as Black females? Sorry, I
Oh my
speak very
God.
fast, Normal, when I get excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so Normal. I just
challenges
yeah.
are,
Yes.
yeah, the challenges are great.
Yes.
One of the things that Black women have, we have a lot of discoloration. We have clogged pores with lots of blackheads. We have different kind of acne, from teenage acne to pregnancy acne to acne when they're going through menopause. Black women's skin builds up a lot of dead cells quite quickly. And so we have discoloration from our spots. And whether you squeeze your spots or whether you don't squeeze your spot, they are going to leave a discoloration. They will be dark. And so if you do squeeze your spot, it's best you come to a therapist where we can actually do it quite safely for you. But if you do have a zit going on and it has a nice head on it and it's very juicy and it's ready to pop, it needs to be taken out, because one of the worst things that happens to our skin, why you see a lot of Black people have all those pitting in their skin and sometimes they have a big black hole, is when you do not clean out and extract out all of that waste that comes into your skin, it's going to decompose. It's just like you taking dirt, sweeping it in a corner from your house instead of taking it outside. It will decompose on your skin, and our skin grows much faster than anybody else's skin. We lose 5 layers of skin every day. A Caucasian skin might only lose 1 or 2, and then it goes up to the different different people. But Black women, we have 5 layers and it grows fast. This is the problem why we have so much problems in our skin, is the fact that our skin grows very, very fast. And it's not because we've got an oily skin. The oily skin is what allows our skin to be a lot more younger and youthful. When we spend all our life trying to take oil out of the skin, this is when we run into problems with our skin. Now, the skin isn't just about oil building up. It's your toenails, it's your lungs, it's your liver, it's your heart. It's all the free radical that dies and grows inside of your body, the food you eat. Everything comes through your skin. Not everything gets defecated into the toilet or urinated through the toilet. And so the rest of it has to come through what we call the lymphatic system. It's your dustbin, and your skin is just a big dustbin for everything on the inside. And that builds up with the oils. They get trapped together if you're not cleansing every day. And if, as a Black skin, if you're not removing those 5 layers of skin every day, that builds up, and it takes 28 days for that skin to make a turnover. Not very good at maths, but multiply 5 by 28. You'll see how much dead skin that we're building up, and then all that dirt gets sandwiched under it. So today is day 1, 5 cells dirt. Next day pushes up 5 cells dirt, and we have to work faster in removing that dead skin so that we can always stay where the skin is functioning quite well. So that's a very quick lesson in what happens to black skin, much quicker than I can explain to you, for you to understand how it actually works quite quickly.
Thank you so much, Norma. I feel like I've truly been educated today about my skin. And we have a question for Seth. So the question is, how much can Black people benefit from having a mentor to support you as you grow your business?
Oh, immensely. I think there's not enough mentors out there. I mean, we do, both Norma and I do a lot of mentoring without calling it mentoring at our academy. And we're always, even though they've come to get qualification, we're always about aspiring them into growing into their own, entrepreneurship and being their own boss and working for their own self and removing that glass ceiling. So I think it's something that we need to do more of, and we probably need to get more. I'd like to see more Black women mentoring in different types of areas, though, because sometimes I think people maybe don't stick to their strengths. And I think sometimes the young people that are with them actually don't know where they want to go or what they want to do. But it's really good to be able to intertwine and mingle a bit of everything. So life skills, experiences that we've been through. I mean, I always haven't been a beauty therapist. I started off as a social worker initially. Then I was a foster carer. I was one of the youngest. I was like a foster carer at like 25. I was fostering 3 young boys and stuff, teenagers and stuff like that. So I think having someone to mentor, it needs to be someone that has had many life experiences. I was a young mom. I got pregnant young. And it's not the end of the world. I was still able to really do good. Some people don't have very good support mechanisms. So how do we get through that obstacle? Where do I go? Is education for me, or can I teach, or what do I do for that? So there's so many different areas that people can kind of gravitate to. So I would highly recommend mentoring and getting a good kind of onus on where young people can go and how they can achieve their goals. And it's very much achievable. They just don't know how. And that's where, people like Norma and I and this platform steps in.
Thank you. And everybody wants to know the address of the academy. How do they get in touch with you guys? How do they get on the program? Please tell us your information.
So our website is www.sittingpretty, but pretty is spelled prettie.com. We're on all the social networking sites. So Facebook, Sitting Pretty Academy, Instagram, Sitting Pretty Academy. So you can get to us via that. We're easy accessible, and we're based in East London. So we're based in Chinkford, which is not far, for those that know, from Walthamstow area.
Okay, there is other questions, but I do have to move on. So what we'll do is we will email you the questions, and maybe we can get the response and send it to all the thousands of people that are asking questions. Ladies, thank you so much for your information about business, skincare. I feel like I'm going to leave here and start doing all different routines. So thank you so much for your times.
Thank you.
And I love the ethos of your academy. It's close to my heart.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce you back to my co-host, Stefan.
Thank you. Well, I've learned so much, man. My notepad is nearly full. Taken lots. That was really educational. Probably the best science lesson I've ever had in my life. So thank you to all of our amazing speakers. So I'm honored now to introduce 2 super successful and established Black businessmen. I repeat, Black businessmen. So we've got Robert Rose, and I think we have Marlon, but Marlon may not be joining us. So if we could have Robert. Welcome, Robert.
How you doing, Stefan? You okay?
I'm very well.
Cool.
The ladies have set the bar really high, right? So there's no
yeah,
pressure.
they were good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I had the pleasure. Part of this amazing experience is I get to research on all these amazing brands, right? So I was looking at your website, and one thing that struck out to me is you pride your business on high quality. right? And I really appreciate that. So just to get straight into it is tell us a little bit about your business. I feel you can, I don't want to do you a disservice with the intro, so please tell us a bit about your business. Plug yourself in by all means. Tell us what benefit you offer to Black consumers and what are you most proud of with your business?
Yeah, so hi everybody. My name's Robert Rose, founder of blackhaircare.co.uk. We specialize in bringing all products and accessories and knowledge into one space. I kind of, when we first started, I wanted it to be more about education and then being able to purchase the products from the same environment. But to do that still hasn't happened. And we ended up pushing the products and promoting the brand and getting the brand known first and building that engagement with our audience. And now we're in a phase where we're starting to shoot videos daily, photography, bringing in hairstylists, bringing in specialists to talk about different subjects, and then for consumers to be able to purchase the products. So yeah, you're right. We kind of, I come from a marketing and sales background, digital marketing. So I was able to I wanted to create a really good environment online that would be better than the in-store experience, because I'm very aware when you go into the traditional store how difficult it is to get good advice and to also purchase the right products for the right type of hair. So I wanted to be able to do that in-house online for our consumers, as I've said before.
Yeah, thank you. Please, guys, check out the website. It is top quality stuff. So let's talk black hair and skincare, right? I'm gonna shoot straight with you. As a Black man growing up, none of my friends ever really spoke about black hair and skincare. We would run around our face. We would run around covered in cocoa butter, shining, glistening in the sun, right? But we didn't really speak on it. So tell us.
That's different. That must have been you and your friends, man.
Sorry to all my friends if I've digged you out right now. Apologies. Tell us a bit about. Yeah, how did you get into it? Like, what is it a passion for you, first of all? And when did you realize you wanted to set up a business around it?
Yeah, it became obviously a strong passion, and I think when I used to listen to women in my family, my wife and my in-laws and stuff, talk about the experience they were having in the shops, and obviously even myself going into the shops, I was raised in Peckham, and in Peckham there's probably about 8 or 9 hair shops on one street. Some are really big shops, some are smaller shops. You've got Packs there, you've got all the big shops there. And the experience when you go in is never that good. So I definitely had the passion. I think it came, I was looking for an idea to do an online business. And the idea was staring me in the face the whole time. And it was after having a discussion with my wife. And then I jumped online and I started doing some research. I think the lady on the last call was talking about doing research, and she's right, it's really important. Because just doing that research made me see very quickly that it was a huge gap that needed to be filled. So I wanted to be the person to go in and help fill that gap in a really strong way.
I'm from Peckham too, actually. I'm just around the corner from Peckham, right? Wow. I walk up and down, and shopping in Peckham is frustrating, right? Because you're right, they serve all of our products, but they don't treat us with respect sometimes, and it is quite frustrating. And I always scratched my head and said, I wish I could just buy this stuff from a black person, right? No offense, but it would mean more to me. You spoke about some of the challenges accessing these products. How far have we gone in overcoming these challenges? First of all, let's be clear. What do you think are the challenges? And are we making progress?
Are you saying accessing for the consumer or accessing for
for consumers? Yeah, for black people, black consumers, like accessing quality skincare and hair care products. What are the challenges?
Yeah, it's difficult because there's lots of barriers, especially because most of the products are coming from the US. And there's lots of requirements in Europe. I mean, and it's made it, I'm not sure if it's even worse now because we've kind of removed ourselves from Europe. There has to be lots of licensing agreements done, and there has to be specific things done with the packaging, which some of the suppliers are not willing to do. So a lot of the products that we want to get our hands on, we physically cannot bring them into the country, which is tremendously frustrating. But this year we're going to reach out to a lot more UK brands and start building relationships with those brands. We've started speaking to a few as it is now. And also we just don't want to put them on the store and just leave them there and hope they sell. We want to actually work with them, and coming from a marketing and sales background, we want to be able to, and we've got our own video production studio, we've got our own photography suite, we've got our own video editing production suite. So we want to be able to bring these brands in and be able to help them to build their brands with us as well within the UK, so we don't have to worry about all of this issue in the future with all these products coming and trying to get in from the States.
Great. That sounds like you're doing some great work. And those partners, are they also Black-owned businesses as well? Or? Okay.
Yeah, in the UK, most of them, I believe, are Black-owned. The ones I've spoken to are. Obviously, in America, they've been doing it a much longer period of time than we have here, and they've gotten it to a much bigger stage, and they've got a bigger audience and a consumer base to sell to. But yeah, I just want to, I'm quite passionate about working with the UK brands and really building them in this country, getting the packaging right, getting the product right, marketing it to the consumer in the right way. Not just here, but also marketing it back to those in the US as well and around the world.
Okay. So I know you're an online retailer, right? And here's a question for you. It's a tricky one, right? Because you've been through Peckham, right? You've seen the masses of people, Black people that go to these shops, right? How are you and other Black-owned businesses going to persuade them to move to online? How do we shift that culture? Because Peckham's just around the corner from me, right? I can literally go out tomorrow morning, go and get my hair oil. How are you competing with that?
Because you're right, and Peckham is a very unique place. I think the only other town that could be very similar, but not even quite, is Croydon. So I travel a lot. And I've been around and I've seen a lot of the areas where the shops are. Peckham is quite unique because you've got probably 8 shops in one space, and they're all battling each other to get the price down. So it's very competitive in Peckham. So I am not trying to win business from consumers who are based in Peckham. So most of our consumer base is actually from outside of London, believe it or not. So I think outside of London, and especially where they're not such a big concentration of people, of Black people in that area, the products are quite a bit more expensive. But we work very hard to try and keep our prices as competitive as possible. And we do benchmark our prices based off of the prices in Peckham. So once we do that, then we know we're able to sell to people from outside of Peckham and beyond.
Well, the good news is, Robert, I'm converted, right? You've got a Peckham customer here, and he will be buying some of your products for sure.
Our warehouse is on Oakhead Road. You can pop round when you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. You hold me to it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
so I mentioned at the top, right? Quality. Quality stands out, thick through your marketing and your products, right? So in terms of quality, what has inspired you to have such a high standard? That's question one. And number two, as a Black businessman, do you feel under more pressure to deliver quality? Because we often hear those stereotypes about, bad service and maybe bad quality. Do you feel that extra pressure?
Stefan, I think with me, I don't really think of it as I'm a Black guy and, I've got I just see it as whatever I do, I have to do it to the best of my ability and capacity. And I kind of go out the gate wanting to be the best, right? So even though it may take time, that's my intention. So when I built the website myself. So when I was building the website, it took about, actually that what you're seeing now is probably like the 5th variation of the site. When I first launched it, it took me 2-3 months, and it wasn't working very well. So I had to pull it down and redo it again. But then I looked at what was out there in the space and how everyone else was doing it. And then I realized, and then I looked at, I actually mimicked the site a lot off of places like that at work, eBay, Amazon, big brands, ASOS, all the big brands that are working. I just took all the elements from those sources and tried to bring them into my, and not just what you see on the front end. There's actually more work going on in the back end with the systems that we're using and the technology. We just took expensive technology from the beginning rather than scrimping and scraping And although we didn't make money for a while, we just went in with the more expensive technology just to be able to be smoother as things grew, which really helped.
I like that answer a lot. Personally, it really touched me because yeah, sometimes I feel like we do walk around with this pressure of I'm a black man and I've got to do particular things, right? Why can't we just be great? You know?
I mean, the pressure is there, and
Yeah.
I can tell you a million stories about getting into this industry and how tough it was, and how I was getting blocked and the trust. But okay, fine. I know my character. I know that I'm not coming in to do anything bad and nothing, vindictive. I want to do good business. So it just takes a while. And now everybody knows me in the industry. Everybody trusts me. Everyone knows I'm a man of my word. I don't go out there to rob and steal and do anything dodgy. So after a while, you can get the reputation built up. And I think that's with anything. So I don't go in with that mindset of, oh, I'm a black guy and poor me. And I expect this to happen because I'm black. No, I just go in and I just do the best that I can do. And I work hard and I just try to make the right decisions.
Yeah, it's really evident in the quality of your work. And you are clearly a success story, right? But I always like balance, right? I always like to find out, what did you have to overcome to get to where you are? So what challenges did you have to overcome on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it a little bit, but I remember when I think I said earlier, I was speaking with my wife, and then when I went online and I started doing the research and I realized there was a massive gap, right? I don't know anything about this industry in terms of the business side. I just know that when I need shampoo or I need conditioner or I need moisturizer, I go to the shop and I buy it. But I don't know where this stuff's coming from. I don't know who the suppliers are. I don't know the steps. I don't know anything. So in the beginning, there was a huge challenge. Like, where do I even go to find out where to get these products? And I remember speaking to my cousin who worked for Dave's International in Peckham for about 20 years. And he's now living in Ghana. So I called him and I said, look, I want to get into this industry. Who do I need to speak to? And he said, I need to go to this wholesaler who I won't mention. And I called them up and I went in and they said, the boss of the business said, tell him to go somewhere else. We don't want his business. So I could tell you loads of stories like that. But now all of them deal with me and all of them are happy to deal with me. But initially it was tough getting in the door with it. But you have to persevere. If you say you want to do something and you give up at the first hurdle, that means you didn't really want it. Because I found business being like steps, right? So you get to this step, you get a bit of leeway, you get ahead, and then you get to another obstacle to get to the next step, and you got to overcome that obstacle. So I think I found being successful in business is overcoming a series of obstacles, and we're still overcoming obstacles today.
Yeah, absolutely right. Perseverance is key, right? They say success is just after failure, right? And you just got to keep going. So yeah, that's really inspiring. You mentioned at the top of the conversation as well about education. What education do you feel black men in particular need around skincare? Where do you think education is missing?
See, it's a funny one because nowadays we've got so much information at our fingertips. So if you need to know how to look after your beard, how to look after your scalp, the information's there. I mean, you can in 2 minutes you can find it on YouTube. So getting that information, educating yourself about how to look after your skin is not difficult. I think one of the lady before, was it Zeph? I think she was talking about drinking 3 liters of water a day. I mean, that's the first step, isn't it? If you really care about your scalp, you really care about your skin, then drinking lots of water is really important. That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, guys, we're not plugging in Highlands water.
No.
It's just a water I've got in my hand. All right. We have no affiliation with Highlands water at all. What would be, on a practical level, right? What would be your top 3 to 5 tips? We heard the ladies drop some gems around routines and stuff. For black men in particular, what would be your top tips?
Sorry, are we talking business or are we talking about caring?
Oh, sorry, caring for skin and hair as well, by the way.
I've got 4 boys. I'm a bit older than I look. And for me, I don't think men's thing is that difficult. I use a face scrub once a week. I use a good cleanser. I use a good moisturizer. My one has shea butter and coconut butter in it, I think. And I don't have much hair. So I shampoo when I cut it. I'll shampoo, condition, and then moisturize. I cut my own hair, I cut my own beard, so I don't go to the barbershop. I haven't been to the barbershop for 20 odd years. So that's my routine. But I don't think for men it's particularly difficult, to be fair. Drink water, moisturize well, use a good cleanser. And we sell all of those products, by the way. And we've got a very good men's section on the website.
Is it true? I saw a funny meme online, right? For each lie a man says, his hairline goes back an inch. Is that true? Can you confirm it? I've heard, but I'm all right. So I'm a very honest man.
Yeah,
you can
well,
see, so
when mine grows, it's quite far forward, so I think I'm okay.
Honestly, Robert, it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm genuinely inspired by where you started and where you are now, and I'm sure there's plenty more success to come along the way. Please, can you just plug in your website one more time for us and your socials?
I will, Stefan, but before I say that, you just said something, and I've got to say, I started this business working full-time in my digital marketing career. I worked the business in the evenings from 6 till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning for the first year and a half. The first year didn't make any money. The second year we did well. The third year we grew 6 times, and this year we're on to blow past that. So I just want everyone to know that when you want to start something, so long as you're willing to put the work in, overcome the obstacles and don't give up, have a good mentor, you can do it.
Yes.
The website is www.blackhaircare.co.uk.
Everyone, please go on there, check it out. Let's support. Let's buy at least one product, right, and then recommend it to a friend. But Robert, I'm not going to let you go just yet, right? We have another guest who's in and out, so I'm actually going to open it up to the audience. Does anyone have any questions while we've got Robert on the call here? But yeah, while we wait for some more questions, you mentioned mentoring, right? Did you have a mentor when you was coming up?
I have tons of mentors, whether they're a physical mentor or an online mentor. So if you can't access someone directly, there's many mentors online that you can follow. Come to mind, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk. There's tons. Bob Proctor. There's loads of people that can inspire you and help you online. But also finding a good physical person that you can call. So I've got for example, I've got a very good accountants who have become my friends, right? And they've been in business for 50 odd years. So whenever I've got issues around finance, before I make that decision, after I've prayed about it, then I will call them and say, look, this is the thing that I'm facing. What do you think from an accountant's point of view is the best way? And because of their experience and all the businesses they help, they can often give me very good advice. Then I've got other businessmen around me who are very successful. And you build these relationships over time, and then you can lean on these people because they like you and they want to see you succeed, right? So I'm never scared to ask silly questions that I think might be silly, but I'm not scared to ask it. Also.
That's a valuable lesson I learned myself, actually, when I was working in the legal field. And a lawyer said to me, just ask anything you want to ask, right? Don't worry about looking foolish. The foolish man is the one who doesn't ask questions. So I echo that completely. I'm going to bring in another inspirational person. Marlon, could we get Marlon on as well to share the stage with us? Marlon, welcome.
Marlon made it, yes.
Welcome, Marlon. You're on mute.
Oh, we can't hear you.
You're still on mute.
Don't crash, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to be complicit in any crimes right now, Marlon. We still can't hear you, bro.
Yeah, we can't hear him. I spoke to him just before the call, and he said he had to pick up his son. His son plays for QPR.
Yeah, I'm
So he's
gonna plug in his barbershop though while he's on the phone. Is he still can't hear you?
Can't hear you, bro.
Okay, do you want to drop off and reconnect and come back with us? Okay, so while I've still got you, okay, let's jump in a time machine, right? Let's go back in time, right? What would you tell a younger Robert Rose? What did you not hear when you was younger? What you needed to hear?
Do you know what? As you were saying it, I knew he was going to say it, and I think the thing that came to my mind immediately, and I think it's the thing that we all suffer with, right? Because we lean on our own limitations when we're making these decisions. But I found that I didn't dream big enough. Whatever I wanted or whatever I wanted to achieve, I should have made the dream a lot bigger. So I've now made whatever I want to achieve and the dream that I want to achieve, I increase it, double it, and go for it. Because we're living in an environment and a society where anything is possible. We're not limited. We've got freedom. We've got relative freedoms. We've got good laws. We've got good tax laws. We've got good business laws. So we can really take advantage of that and achieve whatever it is we want to achieve. So set the bar higher is what I wish I did when I was younger, and not being afraid of going for that big aspiration when I was younger.
Again, I can echo that. I feel like when I was growing up, Robert, like I internalized that narrative that there's so many hurdles that as a black boy that I've got to overcome. And I feel like I needed to hear when I was younger, forget all of that, aim high and go for it. Right. So yeah, I'm fully with you on that. Should we check in with Marlon again? Marlon, how are you? Still can't hear you. I'm not very good at lip reading, I'm afraid. So we do need you to get your mic on for us. Okay, still no joy. While we wait for him to connect, I've got a question in the audience. As a man in the skin and hair space, did you find there was a lot of education you had to do to understand the products you're selling?
Yeah, a little. It's a constant thing and it's continuous. I think even listening to Norma, was it Norma just now? I was learning stuff from her. So I'm a bit like a sponge, and I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly trying to learn new things. So when I speak to hairdressers, when I'm speaking to skin people, when I'm speaking to nail technicians, beauty makeup artists, I'm constantly trying to absorb and learn, watch, and so it's a constant thing. It's never, I'm never going to know everything. We get phone calls sometimes and I hand it over to a staff member because I don't know the answer. So I'm not afraid of not knowing the answer. I'll go and ask the question if I need to know the answer if I don't know it.
Yeah, I feel that one. One thing I've learned quite late in life, Robert, is I don't need to know all the answers. Sometimes it's okay to be around people who know the answers. I was one of those guys that always had to go and get a book.
Yeah, me too.
And realized there was never enough books for me, to learn these things. So I really appreciate that. We've got another good question actually for you. Are there any products you wouldn't sell from an ethical perspective? Are there any products we should avoid?
Yes, that's a really good question. 100%. So we really try to keep away from really harmful, damaging products to our community, right? And we try to push as much as possible chemical as free as possible products, more natural products. So although we do sell some products, we do have a non-natural range, but we try to we ensure that we won't sell. You'll never see us selling bleaching products, right? We're not selling nothing to do that will bleach your skin, nothing like that. So that's a good question. We're very careful. We won't even. I've got very strict policies in-house with the team. So even when the stuff comes in from the warehouse, from the wholesalers, I ensure that the team is even checking the dates. And what the wholesaler will even do is scratch the date out on the bottle if it's out of date. So we will get it in, and then we'll say, well, there's no date, and the wholesaler will say it's fine, and we'll say no, it's not, and they say, well, that's all we've got. Then take it back. We don't want it, because we're not selling our people out of date stuff. But when you go in the shops, they will gladly sell you the out of date stuff. So there's lots of those kind of things that we just won't entertain. We check everything. We make sure that our products are. Even there's a product called Wild Growth that helps to grow your hair, and there's a lot of dodgy ones. There's a lot of brands. There's a lot of companies bringing. There's guys driving around in vans selling this stuff to shops, and they come to us and we refuse. We will not buy it from them. We make sure that all the products are original. We do our best not to bring in any fake products.
I really admire that, right? Because I guess it's so easy to make a
quick buck
being unethical, right? And I feel like as Black business people, right, we do need to be conscious of the impact we're having on each other. Even taking away just race, just as human beings, we need to be aware of the products we're selling to each other, right?
Yeah.
So I really admire that from your perspective. I think we're out of questions, guys. It is upon me to just advise everyone in the audience that we don't condone speaking while driving. So we have respectfully asked Marlon to pull over and rejoin us.
Someone said he should turn his Bluetooth off, so it's not connected to the car. Probably park at. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, but look, while he's not here in his absence, let's plug him in. So I think he's the owner or a co-founder of an amazing barbershop in South London. I think it's called Pro Cuts. I need to just double check that. But when I saw his website, right, you can book online. There's a goldfish tank in there.
Yeah.
You get live Premier League football, and you get live boxing. I came very close to cheating on my barber when I saw his website, but thankfully I didn't. My barber wouldn't appreciate me if I did that. Robert, I'm going to move on to our next part of the session, but thank you so much for joining us.
No probs.
And sharing your gems with us. And just on the topic of mentoring, just to plug in the 100 as well, we are all about mentoring our young people. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to mentor, please reach out to us and we can make that happen. Okay, so I'm going to hand over back to my amazing co-host, Katisha. Katisha, you there? Katisha, where you at? Have I lost my co-host as well? It's just me, all alone. Do I need to start singing or something to fill in the time?
Hey, how's it going,
Can you hear me?
Stefan? Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you
I'm
hear
good.
me?
I can hear you. Katisha's back now.
Awesome.
So you guys can get rid of me.
That's good, that's good.
All right, have fun, guys.
Thank you so much. So we have for our next guest, as you can see, Jonathan, and we also have Tasha, who is a loctician, and her company is called Lock by Lock. So Tasha Lawson is the founder of Lock by Lock. She is a natural hair enthusiast who specializes in locks and natural hair. Tasha, are you here? Can you come to the screen?
I'm here.
Hi, Tasha. How are you?
I'm
Hey,
good,
Tasha,
thanks.
how's it going?
Not bad. Long day.
Well, it's time to have fun. So when I hear the word loctician, I feel like it's more than just getting your hair twisted. Please tell us, if I made an appointment, what could I expect?
So an appointment at mine would be great conversation, lots of hair education about your hair. Jonathan can attest to that, and a great style also.
Great stuff. So I know lots of people have locks, but I had a look at your website. Your locks are uber thin. Is there a preference to the size of locks? Does it, is the upkeep different?
It can be in the beginning. And these aren't that small. So I had locks before and they were even smaller. So this is a good size. And as you can see on my page, I don't specialize in any one size because I think everyone's hair is different. Our follicles are different. And so no two persons can look the same, basically.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So if in terms of hair care, what sort of hair care would you recommend for those who like to use natural products?
Okay, so in terms of products, I don't really use products. I use oil and water, to be honest.
Ah,
Yeah, oil and water and maybe a little bit of aloe vera gel.
yeah.
Because I think all of these products, they have preservatives, they have a lot of things that don't necessarily, they're not the best for our hair. And so because I myself don't use them, then I don't feel comfortable enough to say, go and use these ones or suggest anything because I don't always, you don't know what's in everything. So it's difficult. But if I would say a brand I do use is Younger Natural, and what I get from them is a lot of oil. They do a lot of natural oils, so that's what I use on mine.
What are your top tips for looking after your luscious locks?
Top tips, low, what do I say? Don't over manipulate your hair. Like our hair doesn't like it. It will, and it won't show right away. That's the thing with a lot of hair damage. It takes time, and by the time you see it, it's like, damn, what happened? So I'd say just don't over manipulate, don't over style. Just be free.
I love that. Be free with your hair.
Be free with your hair.
Yeah. So I know Jonathan has paid a visit to your salon and I can see the after product. So Jonathan, tell me, when you were thinking about doing your hair, what was you looking for?
Yeah, when we were in lockdown and I had like quite a bit of hair on me and I didn't know what to do with it. So I was pretty much stuck with waiting for the barber to come back and open up basically. And I was just like, okay, as soon as I put much effort into keeping the hair sort of neat, even though it was an afro, I figured I might as well do something with it. I've only had one barber for the past like 15 to 20 years, so I was quite particular about someone else touching my hair. Like I didn't feel comfortable going to a stranger's place to like do my. I just like it's my hair, and I'm very particular about who touches my head anyway, right? So for me, it was like, wait, hang on. I just happened to see a post that Tasha put up on Instagram. I figured, well, I know her. So yeah, I can trust her because I know her to do my hair. And actually, it's been pretty good because her advice has really helped me with my hair growth and I always make jokes about hair journey, hashtag my hair journey, but it is literally a journey because I'm learning so much. Like, I used to put any product in my hair, literally anything and everything. I remember our first conversation and she was like, what do you use on your hair? And I was just listing off all this like stuff and she's like, yeah, no, just water and oil. And it's been since October. I think October was my first visit. And since then, definitely like rapid improvement. And yeah, I feel a bit more confident. Like I know what I'm doing with my hair when I'm trying to style my hair. I don't own I don't use a sponge anymore. I haven't thrown it away, but I don't use a sponge anymore. It's just like little tips while she's doing my hair. That's like, okay, cool. I'll try that out. So now I also shop from Younger Naturals for the oils, and I have like an oil and water bottle that I just use to spritz my hair. And like, I didn't know all this stuff before. I just learned it from her, I guess. And my hair's pretty short, so it's not like it's long and I'm trying to do like long hairstyles, but she's still able to manipulate it and get it into something that's, it looks good, but also I can take care of it myself as well.
Definitely looking good, Jonathan. So I didn't introduce you. So Jonathan, who are you? Where are you from?
Wow, sounds like a government interview. I'm Jonathan. I am a mentor of the 100 Black Men of London. Yeah, I've been with the organisation for a couple of years, and I'm also part of the health and wellness team. And yeah, I guess in relation to this event, I just really love to see the 100 putting on things like this, a forum that allows us to discuss black hair. There's so many different facets to blackness, and our hair is literally one of the ways we wear our identity, right? You see someone, you see their hair, and it says something about them. There's a stereotype to every hairstyle that comes along with it. There's like immediate assumptions that we make about that person's personality or what they're trying to say. So it's really cool to see us sort of putting this on for our community and providing a platform to see like people in the hair space who are doing great things. So yeah, that's me, and that's why I'm here to talk about that stuff.
So someone's asking, Tasha, have you got any appointments in May? But we'll pass on your details to that person, and then they can arrange the appointment.
wait, let me book my appointment first before you book your appointment. I'm due an appointment, so please.
Guys, get in there, because Tasha is filling up. Her diary is filling up. So we have a question in the chat. So it says, how long does your hair need to be to get locks?
I'd say about 3 inches. Okay. It depends on also the size that you want. So if you'd like bigger locks, I'd say get it a little bit longer, maybe 5, because I don't do palm roll, so I only do interlocking. So what I do, it's like a backward plait. So you start at the tip of the hair and you end at the root.
Oh.
So yeah, and you do it with a tool. So it depends on the look that you want. The shorter your hair is, the smaller I would then suggest in terms of size, because then it just looks full right from the get-go. I think with locks, it's got the reputation. They have the thing that they say is the ugly phase. And for me, I don't believe no one gets up out of my chair and it's an ugly phase. I feel like what I do, you come, you get your hair done, and you're ready to go, and you don't have to do anything else. So it just depends on the look that you want to determine the size. Yeah.
So you mentioned interlocking, so that, and where you started. So I'd love to see that happen. And whoever is the competition winner, I'd like to actually see your hair being done. Do you do anything other than locks or interlocking?
So yeah, I do twist and cane rows. So just natural hair, anything that can be done to your natural hair, then I do it. Apart from anything that, and I mean, anything that you do in terms of manipulation has the possibility to damage your hair in some way. But obviously, if you take care in terms of like precision and just being careful with our hair, because our hair, even though people think it's tough and dense, our hair is actually it's quite sensitive. So yeah.
So if I asked you, because clearly my hair is not natural, but if I wanted to go natural, what would you suggest that I do in order to relieve breakage or look in the hot mess?
I'll start off by telling you what not to do. Is I'd say don't sponge. I think sponging, and what a lot of people don't know, is it actually damages your hair. So it's like rubbing two pieces of it's like 2 pieces of rock together. It basically just slowly takes out the hair from the roots. So that's what you shouldn't do. But in terms of going back natural, you can either do the big chop, and as it grows back, just oil and water it again, or you can take another route, which is go through braiding. And so get like box braids or whatever to just help it to grow. But again, because our hair is so delicate, I find that sometimes, depending on how it's being braided, that can also lead to damage, and you just find that your hair's taking longer to grow back than you would have anticipated.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. So, can I unlock the hair when I get tired of the locks? Can I just say, D Beats, you should never get tired of your locks. But anyhow, that's a question for you, Tash. No, sorry, my cousin's called Natasha, so sorry.
That's
Tasha,
okay.
sorry.
That's all right. I generally go by Tash anyway.
Okay.
So yes, so I was locked for 3 years, and then I decided I didn't love my locks. I decided to take them out and do them myself. So you can always unpick. Only thing I'd say, you'd have to have a lot of patience. It took me 5 days to unpick my hair. So if you are unpicking, and again, depending on size, you just take a week off work, basically.
Wow.
Okay, Jonathan, you mentioned that when you went to visit Tasha, she dropped some gems on how to care for your hair. What is your new hair care routine since seeing Tasha?
Oh, Matt. Where is it? I've got a bottle somewhere.
Go for it,
I've got to
Jonathan. Let's see the product.
So I've got this. The product's no longer in a bottle. Can you see this? I'm just using any bottle. I'm not going to show you branded. But I've got this bottle of stuff. So what I essentially did was go to Yanga Naturals' website and Fresh Skin as well. I bought a couple of oils. I just put them oil and water in that little bottle there. And then I remember Tasha mentioned that instead of using, because I was using like hair products, shampoos and conditioners not for our hair type. I'm gonna phrase it that way. So I found a couple of shampoos that I could use, and then I found a leave-in conditioner. So what I actually do is I mix the oil and water with a leave-in conditioner, and I just spritz my hair every 3 days, I think it is, something like that. And it's just like a little, nothing major. Or sometimes I'll just rub it in my hand and just give it a little sort of zhuzhing it up, if you like, and getting on with it. And that's the routine. It's much simpler now.
I love your technical terms, zhuzhing it up.
It's a word. I love that word. You just zhuzh it up.
Okay, Tasha. We have you mentioned a bit of a competition. So tell us a little bit about what our lucky person could win.
Okay, so the competition. What the lucky winner could win is a free lock installation.
You heard that, guys. The word free and lock installation. So there you go. Look, see.
Okay, how can I win? Am I allowed to win?
All you have to do is repost any one of my pictures from my Instagram, and I'll pick names out of a hat, and whoever comes out gets a free lock installation.
Okay, we need Instagram up, people, so you get those trigger happy fingers ready.
That's at lock_by_lock, right?
Yeah.
There you go. I can see Jonathan's fingers working while he's talking to try to get that.
Oh no, my hands are free. My hands are free. I'm not gonna enter for because it look a bit mad still if I were considered I'm here right now. So I'm not gonna enter so that other people get a chance. Exactly. I'm just gonna put my appointment anyway because that's gonna happen.
And as I said, guys, book your appointments because the appointment book is filling up. I've got a couple of people reposting already, a couple of people trying to get their hair done in May, June, got a wedding going on. But Tasha, thank you so much for your knowledge and your information about how we look after our natural hair. Thank you. And Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay zhuzhing it up, people.
Take care.
Zhuzh it up. Drop your locks, guys. I'll introduce you back to Stefan, my co-host. Stefan, are you there?
I'm here. I'm going to enter the competition so I can get my locks done in 2023. I'm just going to keep that appointment on standby, right?
Are you fully going like Bob?
Yeah, I am. I am indeed. I'm on that spiritual journey now. I'm joking. I
Love
won't
that.
enter.
Love that. Okay.
So I'm super excited to bring on our next speaker, a super successful and inspiring entrepreneur. He's a South Londoner, South London being the best part of the world, right?
London.
He's an entrepreneur. He's gone from hosting events in Parliament to running his own barbershop to now being a founder, owner of a super big black hair and skincare company. So I'd like to bring up Aaron Wallace, please. Aaron, how was that for an introduction?
That was good, man. That was more than what I was even expecting.
So I got lost in time actually reading your bio and flicking through your products, right? Your website is amazing. Like your products are amazing as well. The level of quality in what you do it shines through, just like it did with Robert. So do you want to expand a little bit about yourself? I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't want to do you a disservice. Is there anything you want to share about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Aaron Wallace. I'm the founder of Aaron Wallace Grooming, and we are essentially a hair and skincare company that is created especially for the specific needs of black men when it comes to anything to do with our hair and our grooming needs. And yeah, essentially that's the issue that we're trying to solve with everything that we create is all about black men.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, man. You don't really see that too often, do you?
Yeah, well, I think when we originally launched in the UK, we was the UK's first grooming brand that was created especially for black men.
Awesome. So you're a pioneer as well. We need to get that in your bio, Aaron. Pioneer as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah, you could throw that in there. Yeah, I won't
Yeah.
object.
Fine. Pay me a small fee. I'll write up for you, Aaron. Don't worry. I'll charge a small fee. We get that done. So talk to me about this journey from hosting events at Parliament. Firstly, what was
Yeah.
you doing at Parliament to owning your own barbershop to now having this massive company?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that journey. It's so random.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're going way back, man. I didn't think it was going to go that far back. But yeah, essentially, I mean, when we was hosting events at Parliament, so me and my business partner, Lena, she's been kind of on this journey with me as well from the beginning. So we was actually then at the time we was running another company. So we was running a company called Start Young, and what we was doing is helping young people to get into business. So we would put on events. One of the events that we had was at Parliament. We held it with Diane Abbott, and yeah, we just invited lots of like young black people down, and we had a lot of people who were experienced in business to come down and give some tips and advice on how to grow their companies and stuff. So that was our original venture. And then I went into the barbering side of things. So I wanted to, what kind of led me into that was that I felt that at the time anyway, I felt that a lot of guys can relate to this, like, you know, that the barbershop experience. We all know, like, you know, you go to the barbershop, you're not sure how long you're going to be waiting. You don't know. There's long queues. You know, and this is not to knock any barbers, because I know some fantastic barbers, but I know some not so fantastic ones as well. You know, like and I remember at the time I was like, I'm fed up of this. Like, your barber disappears halfway through a haircut, and you're like, everyone's looking around, like, is he coming back? Like, all these kind of things that used to go on. And so at the time, I was like, you know what, I wanna open a barbershop and really kind of set the bar as high as I can. Like so, have like an appointment system. I had like a massage therapist that worked upstairs, so you could get massage and skincare and all of that other stuff as well. And I really wanted to kind of differentiate myself in that respect. So that was kind of how I went down the barbering path. And of course, I had to like the hurdles of that. I had to become a barber myself, and I had to like learn the ropes of of the ins and outs of cutting hair, and like I went and learned. I done some courses as well as got mentorship myself, so that I could I got some really great mentors to help me learn and pick it up. So yeah, that was how I got into the barbering, and ran the barbershop for some time. And yeah, and then I was running the barbershop for quite a while, for a number of years, and I found just through cutting hair day in, day out, speaking with, obviously most of my clientele was black men, and I felt just through speaking with black men every day as their barber, I always say that as their barber, you're kind of like, you wear so many different hats. So you're like part barber, part hair doctor, part therapist, part financial advisor. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have so many different conversations with barbers. And yeah, so men would always come to me with questions about, how do I get my beard to grow, or my hair's receding, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? And it was always like, as their barber, you're cutting their hair, so I've got like a bird's eye view of their hair and their scalp. And I realized that a lot of men, the key issue that we was suffering from was dryness in the hair. And so having the dry hair and the dry scalp is what was leading to all of the other issues. So like for some people, that's why their beard is patchy, or that's why someone might be receded early. It often came down to dryness. And so it would always get to a point in the conversation where it's like, okay, like we know what's going on here. So what is the solution? Like, what should I be doing to my hair to get the results that I want? And that was where things always became a bit of a sticking point, because it was like I always felt like I was sending men on a bit of a treasure hunt, because the first part of the treasure hunt is for a man anyway, is to find the hair shop in the first place. Like, to find an afro hair shop in the first place was the first part of the challenge. And then when you actually find one of those shops, the second part of the hunt is finding the men's section in that shop. So it's like more times there would be like, maybe if you're lucky, one shelf right at the back of the shop, and you've got like a choice of Dax or Dax. Do you know what I mean? It's like so there was very few options for like a really quality product that is natural, that is made for the key issues that we're looking to solve. More black men are looking into their beard care and their hair care, and there was nothing really that was solving that issue. And I felt that as their barber, if I'm trying to provide the best service possible, I should be able to offer a solution to that. And then, so that's kind of what led me on the path of creating a grooming brand, so to speak, because I felt that, like if I'm suffering from this issue and all my customers are suffering from this, I'm sure that there's black men in Germany and France that are also suffering from, just generally being underserved. And like everyone was going on this treasure hunt to find the right products. When you're doing your local shop, or you're out and about and you're doing your regular shopping, you see like products that are made for other hair types, but nothing that's going to really be of benefit to you. So accessibility, and so creating a product that was really great quality and solving the issue, and then making that product as accessible as possible, was the two kind of things that we wanted to solve. And yeah, so that's what kind of led me to where I am today. And eventually it was like I was so focused on getting the products where I wanted them to be and getting the brand out there as much as possible, that I just didn't have the physical time to be cutting every day from 10 till 8 and doing that as well. So I just focused everything onto all of my time and energy onto the grooming side. And yeah, just went all in on that.
That is just an incredible journey. Do you know what is so inspiring?
I told you it was a lot.
Do you know what's so inspiring about your journey, right? Is how you've just moved from problem to problem, and in between each one, you've looked for solutions. So you've just been solution oriented throughout your whole journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson for everyone within business, right? That's how you create a great product, right? You find out what is the problem and how do you solve it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can relate to your
Yeah.
experience about being in the barbers, your barber going on a phone call for 20 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
going on one ear. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Just, you know, I need my haircut. What are you doing having these convos, you
And you
know?
know what? That used to stress me out because I'm just thinking my fade, bro, my fade. Like you're cutting my hair like this.
Let's talk again about quality, right? Because
Yeah.
two keywords in your product, especially your beard oil, correct me if I'm wrong, black seed oil and mango. So I want you to tell us about why they are important ingredients. And first as well, I must mention, guys, you can buy Aaron Wallace products on ASOS. That's how big this thing is, right? And please let us know where else we can buy it as well. But we want to know all about this black seed oil and this mango. What magic is it doing for us?
Yeah, so when we started on this journey, on this path, like we asked ourselves the key question, like, okay, so we wanna help men with these issues. The key question is, what does it take to create healthy afro hair? Like, what is healthy afro hair? What does that look like, and how do you generate that in anyone? And like I said, we identified that the key issues that many men were facing was when you go back to the root of it was dehydration and dryness. So afro hair is very, because of the coils, is very prone to drying out, especially in climates like the UK. It's just very prone to drying out. So when we was looking at ingredients, we was looking for things that are specifically tackling that issue. And so black seed oil was the first one that I was like, this ingredient has to go in there, because black seed oil is like, it's one of those oils that is like, it's almost like legendary, like it's almost like a myth. Like it was used by the ancient Egyptians, it was used by the ancient Greeks, it's mentioned in the Quran, like it's just, and it's often known as the cure for everything except death, because it's used in internally, externally. It heals the body, it heals the skin, it heals the hair. It's just one of those ingredients that's just got so many benefits. So I was like, yeah, this is one ingredient that is going to be very, very like crucial, beneficial for black skin and black hair. It's very what's the word, emollient as well, so that it absorbs into the skin and the hair as well, so that it's actually softening the skin and the hair. And it contains a lot of proteins as well. It does a lot. And then the other one was the mango butter. So we're like, okay, so you've put the hydration into the hair. We want something that keeps that hydration in the hair for as long as possible, because water by itself is great, but water evaporates very fast as well. So you're kind of constantly topping it up. So if we want to try and lengthen that and keep the hair softer for longer, we're like, okay, the mango butter is what's going to keep that moisture in the hair for a little bit longer, and it's also going to protect the outer layer of the hair, of each strand of the hair as well. So you're keeping it softer for longer, and you're protecting the hair as well with the mango butter. So those are the two key ingredients that was like, okay, these are going to be like our hero ingredients that's going to be in every product, as well as your, like your coconut oils and your shea butters and the common ingredients that are in there. These are the two ingredients that we're like, yeah, now this needs to go in everything. And then once we had our ingredients, then it was just about testing the formulations so that they are working well with afro hair type. So like one of the things that I had to go back and forth with is making sure that the products were thick enough, so that for our hair as well, so that they're actually doing what they're supposed to do. And yeah, like it's always been about the best ingredients and solving that issue of healthy afro hair.
So can I find these products, these ingredients in the two products I'm about to order after this call, right? The 3-step hair care system and the hair and beard oil.
Yeah. So
straight after this, I'm
those
ordering.
ingredients are in everything.
Yes, I'm ordering. I need it actually, because I'm getting a bit patchy at the front, man. It's a bit embarrassing. I feel like I'm losing my hair already. So hopefully you can save me.
It will,
It's all
help.
on you.
It will help. Well, I always say to guys at the end of the day, like it's genetic. So every man is going to start to recede at some point, but the goal is to slow that process down and delay that process as long as possible. So using things like, you know, black seed oil is really good at slowing it down. And taking care of your body in general is really good at slowing it down. You know, staying healthy, staying hydrated, eating lots of greens, lots of grains is really good for hair growth and hair strengthening. Reducing stress. So, you know, anyone that's bringing negative vibes, like just cut that off as soon as possible. Reducing alcohol intake, reducing smoking intake, and another one as well that a lot of people are not clued up on is you know, like when you get your hair cut. So, and this is one thing that I've been trying to get this message out there as well, is that when you get your hair cut and the barber gives you that lineup and gives you that sharp lineup, he'll often spray alcohol along it afterwards, and that is kind of, it's an old school method because it's supposed to clean the area and disinfect the area, but really when you spray alcohol onto what's effectively an open wound, because he's just cut it's so sharp, like you've just taken off the top layer of the skin, and then you're spraying alcohol there, it's damaging the follicles in the area, so it's actually speeding up your rate of receding. So one, the barber should be spraying down the actual tools that he's using and cleansing the tools, rather than spraying down the scalp with alcohol. So that's something that I always warn guys about, and I know that I've seen it with some of my friends who, like, you know, some guys they like to get the shape up every week. Like they'll get a haircut every 2 or 3 weeks, but the shape up every week. And then what happens with that is that, one, to get the line crispy and sharp, the barber has to go back a little bit. He has to slightly touch it back a little bit to get it really sharp. And then, of course, then you're spraying the alcohol on it as well. So it's like, it's just not doing yourself any favors. So yeah, try and avoid that. Try and avoid that. It's not essential. It's really not.
I was always wondering why we had to go through that pain of closing your eyes really tightly,
Yeah,
waiting for that spray.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's just that it's one of those things that's just always been passed down. It's always been passed down, and there was a time where it was beneficial, but I think that the level of cleanliness that we have now and the level of disinfectant that we have with our tools and stuff, that we should be practicing, because when you spray your tools, what you're cleaning your tools with is much stronger than alcohol. So
yeah,
the tools that you're using should be clean. So there's not really, it's not, I don't think that is beneficial spraying the scalp, rubbing the area with alcohol.
Very quickly, on the topic of shape ups, right? Razors, yay or nay? Are they good for doing shape ups?
Razors are cool. The razors are fine. The only thing that you have to be careful of when it comes to razors is whether you're susceptible to ingrown hairs. So if you find that you get ingrown hairs really easily, then avoid the razor, because when you use the razor, you're actually taking off even more of the top layer of the skin. So when the hair grows back, especially if you have very coarse hair or very coily hair, and it curls back underneath that layer of skin you've just removed, some men, especially black men, and we're actually working on our skincare range as well to kind of address these issues. But if you're very susceptible to ingrown hairs, then avoid the razor at all costs. Just stick to the trimmers, the clippers.
That's really useful. There's so much. You've got so much gems. Do you do like any courses, or do you write anything? Do you post anything?
We do put a lot of information on our website. So I think that like we're very keen on like educating men about their hair and their skin and their grooming as well. And yeah, so we do a lot of blog posts on our website, and of course, like a lot of the times, like when customers like message us on Instagram and stuff, like they'll have questions, or they'll email us with questions, and then we'll turn that into a blog post as well. So that, because we know if one person's asking, there's probably other men that are also curious about it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to bombard your website and all my WhatsApp group chats. I'm going to be like those uncles and aunties now and just spam them with your website because
Go
there's
for
so
it,
much
man.
to learn from
Go
what you're
for
doing.
it.
I do have some more questions. I could talk all
Sure.
day about
Go
this
on.
stuff. So we've ASOS, right? I imagine when you mention you're an ASOS, everyone's like, ASOS, right? So we want to know a bit about your journey to getting your product in ASOS, and in particular, what challenges did you have to overcome on that journey?
Yeah, so at the moment we're now stocked in ASOS, Liberty, London, Saks Fifth Avenue in the US, and we've just launched on Zalando, which is they're kind of based in Germany, but they're like an EU company. And describing the journey is, to be honest, like our journey is always, like I said, is one, we're trying to focus on accessibility. So we're trying to be in places where Black men shop anywhere. So whether you go to your specialist Afro hair shop, we want to be there. And whether whether you're shopping on ASOS for whatever else, like clothes or whatever, we want to be there as well. So we just want to be wherever Black men are shopping. The journey itself is it's a long one. It's knocking on doors. It's just literally just knocking on doors. You get a lot of, I wouldn't even say rejection, but you just get a lot of airtime. You reach out to different buyers and stuff. You might not get a response, but then you get one retailer that's like, okay, you get one buyer that's interested or sees the proposition, that sees the vision of the issue you're trying to solve, and they'll place a small order of stock, and then another one sees that you're listed on that company, and then it's like a snowball effect, and others kind of join in. But I mean, for me personally, getting into retailers isn't like the number one priority for me. Like, the number one priority is speaking directly to Black men, building that relationship directly with Black men, and then whether they come to our website or whether they go to ASOS or whether they go to like a Jamie or a Hair Pop or one of these other Afro specialist retailers, that's their preference. Like, we just want to be wherever they're shopping, and we just, like, my goal is to just provide the quality products and get it out there in front of you.
Yeah, that's so inspiring, right? It's for you. I sense it's not just about profit margins, but it's about genuinely educating our people to take better care of our hair and our skin. That's so needed. All right, so give us your top 3 to 5 tips, practical tips for Black men to take care of their hair and skin. Your top 3 or 5.
So it's all about routine. I say that it's about setting up a routine, and we've developed our 3-step system to work together as a routine. So like, each step has a purpose. So say, for example, like I said, like the goal that we're trying to solve is healthy Afro hair. So what are the steps to create healthy Afro hair? Well, the first step is you have to cleanse it. But we found that a lot of the products on the market at the time contained a lot of sulfates, a lot of parabens, and what they do is that they can sometimes sud up their hair so much that they're kind of overworking. They're doing too much, so that they're not just cleansing the hair, but they're stripping away everything. They're stripping away the hair's natural oils as well. So obviously with Afro hair, that's a no-no. That's what you don't want to do. So we developed a natural cleanser that softly cleanses the hair and pulls out the dirt without stripping away the natural oils, so that the hair can retain as much moisture as possible. Then the next step is conditioning the hair. And I always say to guys, like, a conditioner is exactly what it says on the tin. Like, it improves the condition of the hair itself. So I always make the comparison of like a rope. So if you see, like, those big ropes that they use to like tie ships to like the docks or whatever, those big thick ones. If you take one of those ropes and you drag it along the ground, the outer layers of that rope will start to fray
Right.
away from the main rope itself. So what the conditioner does, so imagine that's your strand of hair that's fraying. The conditioner just smooths that layer back down again, so you just got one smooth strand of hair. And then what that does is actually keeps the moisture in the hair, because when it's fraying, the moisture that you're putting in is coming straight back out. So when you've got a smooth strand of hair, the cuticles are maintaining as much moisture in the strand of hair as possible, improves the condition of the hair. The third step is the moisturizer. And so this is literally one of the key pieces. So this is just adding that moisture directly into the hair. So whether your hair is brittle or like just screaming for water or whatever, the moisturizer just goes in, and you can put this in your hair whether you've just shampooed and conditioned it, or you can put that in your hair whether it's dry and you're just getting ready for work or whatever. And the moisturizer you can use daily. And then the third step is that the fourth or final step is the beard oil. So once you've used the first 3 steps, like that's the 3-step system, then we've got the beard oil. And what I found is that a lot of men, when they come to us, the first thing that they're looking for is beard oils. A lot when they think, oh, I'm trying to get my beard to grow, I'm trying to do this, I need beard oil. So a lot of the guys that come initially are just looking for beard oil. So I always say, like, beard oil is great and you need beard oil, but beard oil is actually the last step in a process. Because if the hair that you currently have is dry and brittle and frayed and not well looked after, your beard shiny and not really do anything else. So what you want to do is have your 3-step system, which is for healthy afro hair. Those are all water-based products. Once you've done that, the beard oil goes on last, and the beard oil is an oil. So the oil is then acting as a sealant to keep the moisture in, again, keeping the moisture in the hair for longer. So that's those are the key steps. You follow those key steps, and of course those are the key steps for your hair and grooming. And then outside of that, it's just about healthy lifestyle, keeping the body hydrated, and removing any stress and removing any toxins such as alcohol and smoking that you're putting in.
I don't think you understand how intensely I've been listening to those 3 steps, because I'm getting these products, right? Well, how long is delivery, by the way? How long do I have to wait?
It's usually like 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days. Okay. Thank you for giving us that run through.
No worries.
Yeah, you're right. Like, we focus so much on our beards from about 10 years old. I remember in the school, like, yeah, where can I get a beard oil? I have like 1 or 2 strands of hair. What am I talking about? And that leads nicely onto a question asked by someone in the audience, right? Do you find more and more men are taking care of their appearance? Are we having these conversations more?
100%. And I think that the growth in popularity of beards is what has kind of raised the consciousness of men. So I'll give you an example. So like previously, like I could be cutting someone's hair and I might notice that their hair is particularly dry. And as I'm cutting, I might be like, bro, like, your hair is really dry, it's really brittle. And often the guy would just say, yeah, I know, man, my hair's dry. Or that, like, so they're like, and I'll be like, yeah, it doesn't have to be dry though. So what I found is that previously men had just kind of just accepted how their hair was, however it was, if that makes sense. So it's like if their hair was dry, it's like, yeah, that's just how my hair is. My hair's just dry. Rather than you'll find more with women, for example, if their hair is dry, they're more likely to look for solutions. How do I soften it? Whereas men were just like, my hair is just dry. And that's mostly because we wasn't like conscious of how to make it softer, or do you know what I mean? It just wasn't part of the conversation. So as the beard movement grew, if your beard was dry and you're trying to get it to look fuller, but your beard is dry, which is making it look patchy, that's when the conversation comes in. Okay, you need to make sure that you're softening the beard so that the hairs are laid down and you're getting the look that you desire. And so through those conversations, we're now talking about, okay, that's the hair on your face. What about the hair on your head? How are you looking after your hair and beard in general? okay, and how are you looking after your skin, and how are you, do you know what I mean? And it just leads on to other conversations. So I think that men are definitely taking much more pride in their appearance and just how they present themselves.
Definitely, I'm sensing a shift, right? Because
Yeah,
back in my day, like the boys just used to walk around with afro combs. You know, we
yeah,
had a tub of Dax at home. We weren't really
yeah,
talking about what we were doing.
yeah,
We just
yeah,
did
yeah,
what we
yeah,
did, and
yeah,
I think you're playing an important role in that. It's now kind of cool, right? Let's be honest. It's cool
yeah,
now to speak about what
yeah,
routines you're doing or what
yeah.
products you're doing, or
Like
you know.
back in the day, it was more like you might like no one really. It wasn't really a conversation like that.
Mm.
You might just be like chilling with your boy one day. You might be like, bro, what do you do? What do you use to do? Do you know what I mean? It might just be one of those ones. But it wasn't really like a conversation, you know. So
Do
yeah,
you remember waves? Do you remember the obsession with waves? Oh my
oh my
god.
days, yes. And do you know what's funny with waves is that I remember, so back then I was like, yeah, gotta get the waves, man, gotta get the waves popping. Went out, bought my Dax, you know, put it in, put the cloth on. Woke up the next day, I'm like, there's no waves. Like, what's going on? Like, I haven't got no waves. Ah, this product's rubbish. Not knowing that the pomade is just one part of it. Do you know what I mean? I expected the pomade to just magically make these waves in my hair and just wake up the next day like looking like genuine or something, you know. But yeah, like and obviously like through what I'm doing now with the company and raising and educating men, like it's I understand there's a process to getting waves. Like anyone can actually have waves, but there's a process, and the key step is brushing. That's what no one really tells you or used to tell you, is that the brushing is what generates the waves. Like the pomade is just what lays the hair down and flattens the hair down, and it's the brushing. Like when I say brushing, I mean like 15 minutes a day minimum of brushing into the wave pattern that you want it to lay down in. And yeah, that's what I wish younger me would knew at the time.
You would have had those waves.
I would have been popping.
Listen, you look great now, man. Honestly, man.
Thank you.
It has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to squeeze in one last question before
Sure.
I unfortunately have to let you go. But there was a question in there about I currently use Jamaican black castor oil on my beard. If I want to thicken my beard out, what other products could I use to assist in this? And do you have a face moisturizer for men? Thanks, King.
Yeah. So Jamaican black castor oil is one of the best products to use if you're trying to thicken your beard, because it's a very thick oil. So I mean that's what I would have probably recommended. So I'd say you're probably on the right track with the Jamaican castor oil. I would say experiment with other oils, experiment with lighter oils as well, because the thicker oils are good, but sometimes you want a lighter oil that can penetrate. But again, like I said, before you even go to the oils, if you really you want the beard to be healthy. Like if the beard is healthy and full and hydrated and moisturized, then it will naturally appear thicker as well. So just ensure that you're using the whatever oil of your choosing is should be the last step of your grooming process. And in terms of face moisturizers, we're actually working on our skincare range that we're planning to launch later on this year. So we have a facial exfoliator to cleanse the skin, and then a facial moisturizer that again has been developed especially for black skin. So it's been developed with quite a thick formulation for our skin types.
Wow. Well, I could keep you here all day, but I know you're a busy man and you got to go and conquer the hair and skincare world. Thank you so much. Please don't feel any way about plugging yourself in again. Are there any products we should look out for? Anything you want us to do? Is there a call
Just
of action?
check us out on Instagram by Aaron Wallace on Instagram. Check out the website byaaronwallace.com. And yeah, any thoughts or questions that you have, just shoot us over, man. We're happy to help.
Yep. So after this call, I'm getting the set, and I want to offer it out to all my brothers on the call. I will gladly purchase an item for one of my brothers on this call, but in return, you have to purchase one for someone else, and then you have to lay down that stipulation, right? So let's just
Love
get
that.
this moving. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a great chat.
Yes, honestly, great stuff. So now we're at the end, unfortunately. Mike, yeah, here we are. Can we get Katisha up as well with me, Mike?
Hi,
My
it's a bit
co-host,
dark
Katisha.
back here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hi.
it is. It's very dark. I'm the light and you're the darkness. Does that mean I'm the angel, Katisha, and you're not the angel? Is that what's going on here?
That's lies.
It has been absolute fun. I've learned so much about hair and skincare. I must say I've been a bit ignorant around this topic, and I've learned so much personally. We are at the end. I've got a few things to say and do. So I want to thank everyone who's attended this event and the previous events and celebrated our 20th birthday with us. We have one last event on, I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, the 8th of May, which is our final celebration. We would love you to all attend. And we did mention a giveaway, right, Katisha?
We
From
did
Deciem.
mention a giveaway. Yep. And I'll just like to bring, I hope you guys can see it. This is what you'll be getting, guys, from Deciem. I'll just quickly open the box up. You know, sometimes you get a giveaway and the things are really small. Not this. Look, real size things. So this is what Deciem is giving you guys, the free giveaway. The Ordinary.
And how can people go about getting these freebies?
Okay, so you'll see shortly that there will be there you go. Tech team, wicked.
We got an amazing tech team. Shout out the tech team.
We have. So health@100bml.org.uk. So that is how you email that email, put your name, your email address, and you will get a freebie. Not to mention, what else have we got, Steph?
Trying to remember. We've got the free
there you go, locks installation for one lucky person. And how you get the free locks installation is to repost one of Tasha's pictures, and it would be good if you put #100 just so she knows where it's coming from, guys. So yeah, that's how you get your free locks installation. I can see a few people busy, Steph, trying to get that freebie.
Yeah, I love freebies. You know, let's go for it. Let's make the most of these opportunities. And on the note of the 100, a lot of hard work has gone on behind the scenes to bring you this event. Shout out to Mike, who's been the orchestrator behind all of this. We cannot function without the efforts of our people, right? And we are always on the lookout for volunteers from Black, African, Caribbean heritage, any particular skill set. We need you on our team to help us continue doing the great work we do. We need mentors. We need people to help us continue our great work. And also we need money as well, right? So if you want to donate to us, please check out our website. Please support us in any way you can. We will greatly appreciate it. And on that note, Katisha, I think we're done. Arsenal are playing. I need to catch the second half of the Arsenal match. I sacrificed football for this. It's been real fun. Thank you, everyone. And that's all. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.